eyes on the beat.
Woo-wee! What's
Yeah.
up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
Yeah.
How you doing? How's it going?
I'm all right. How you doing?
Is that the cheer?
Yeah.
What is up, you guys? What's up? What's up? What's up? Cheers to yet another wild weekend in the NFL. With week 15 is in the books, you guys. I can't believe we have 3 more games left before we get to playoffs. Is that right? 3
Yeah.
games?
Three more weeks, and then
Oh my
it's
goodness,
playoff
man!
time.
It went by fast, right? Is it just me? I feel like it's going by really fast.
It's football, so I
Uh-huh.
think it went by the normal the
Mhm.
normal pace it normally goes, but you know, my mama, I talked to her earlier today. She said this
What's
year is
up,
going
mama?
by fast. I was like, I
Oh yeah,
guess, you
mom
know.
never lied about that. Time goes by really fast
Yeah,
in
I try to
general.
make it go by as slow as possible. I like
Then what's
long
your secret?
days. I like
What's your
long
secret?
days. Just being
Uh-huh.
patient. Don't be in a rush
Mhm.
for stuff. Just let
Mhm.
things happen because the
Go
faster
with
it
the
goes,
flow.
the faster you out of here.
Oh my. Well, okay. that was a little.
Right,
I mean,
right. I'm
when you
trying
put
to
it like
prolong
that.
it. Right, I'm trying to prolong everything.
Well, I have a feeling you'll live to be like you'll be like one of those people we see on Instagram who are like 103 years old, still kicking it.
That'd
I
be
get that
great. I
vibe from
always
you.
my goal has always been 112.
Oh my.
If I can
That's
make
one
that
hell of a
112,
goal.
that'll be fantastic.
Ooh, well, God bless you. I mean, I didn't have that goal in mind for myself now. 112
Right,
is wild. Hopefully you
right,
have some
right.
friends that
Well,
are still around at that point.
yeah. I can teach the youth, can teach the young people, give them some valuable lessons in life.
That's
You
true.
know,
I feel like you'd be good at that.
make the world
Old,
better, a better
old
place.
Notty, 112 years old, giving the youngsters, putting the youngsters onto some things.
Right.
Oh, you guys, we're gonna get right into it because a lot happened. We're not gonna even hold you guys. A lot happened this week. We're gonna start with the Steelers. I'm not gonna even say too much. I'm gonna let you say what you gotta say about the Steelers versus the Dolphins. I'm gonna follow. I'm gonna let you take the lead on this one. I don't really have much to say about this at all.
Oh, it was a good win. It was a good win. It was a necessary win. We saw
It
this
was
weekend.
necessary. I agree with that.
Yeah, we saw this weekend some teams wet the bed. I mean, you talk about
Hmm.
Carolina going into New Orleans. They needed that win to get them some separation and maintain first place in the NFC
Hmm.
South. They wet the bed. Um, you saw you saw a couple teams that just didn't do what they were supposed to do this weekend. So I was actually concerned about this game because it's a trap game for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I knew they needed to take care of business against the Miami Dolphins in order to keep that separation from the Baltimore Ravens and kind of put Cincinnati out their misery. So it was a big
Wow.
win, and Mike Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers, he's been a huge leader the last couple of weeks, just staying extra focused, having players come over to watch film. I mean, they're really digging in and they understand what these games mean coming up going forward. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's a good win. It's a big win for the Steelers, and next week is going to be another challenge that they have to
Hmm.
face. But it was good to go ahead and get the Miami Dolphins out the way because Miami is sneaky. You know, they'll beat you when they can, but fortunately,
Yeah.
this game was in Pittsburgh, and Tua just isn't good in the cold at all. I mean, just face it. I don't think Miami can go anywhere as long as they
With
have to
two.
play games in December and January in cold weather. And it's unfortunate. You know, they're one of
Uh-huh.
those teams that need to start off fast. They need to
Hmm.
start off hot. They need to start off like something like 8-1, and then when they play the cold games, they can win half of them.
Taper off.
That
Yeah.
way, they need home field advantage when
Hmm.
it comes playoff time.
Give
Because
themselves some
without home,
cushion.
right, without home field advantage, they have no shot at and this is why Miami haven't won a Super Bowl
Hmm.
in damn near 40 years or so.
You
What up,
know,
Stacey McKenzie? How you doing? Shouts out to you. Appreciate
let
you
me go to I gotta
staying up a
find
little
you.
bit late.
Ah, what's up? What's up? Hi, Miss Stacy. How are you? He was just talking about you too. What's up? So I'm gonna keep this really, really brief. Obviously, I think around this time of the year, all wins are necessary. Because you never know who can get that win on you. Like the Vikings were kind of struggling. Now they're their season's over, but they're still playing. Like it's not. So you got to take every team seriously, no matter how good or bad the record is. You just got to finish out the best way possible. Even if you're losing, you want to build some momentum going into the next season. As it pertains to the Dolphins, there was a little good stretch in there. They won a couple of games. They won like four in a row. And then today, obviously it was not a good showing. I really feel like they need to, if they're going to keep Tua, they need to go like train with him in Antarctica or something like during the
Right.
like, just go take him to Antarctica for a few weeks and have him like really go out there and like throw the ball around, and so that way when the winter comes, he's like, "This is nothing. I was in Antarctica earlier. You know what I mean? I can handle this."
Right.
Because every single season, when it gets around this time of year, you can just tell like the cold is just it's not for him at all. It's just not. I don't like the cold at all. Okay, that's very, very clear. I wasn't playing it, so I'm not. That's why I'm not
I
in the
I
NFL.
feel
Like
you.
I couldn't do it. I'm not going to a game neither in the freezing cold. It's like I'm in a suite. I will not be out there with the crowd shivering my little behind off for about 4 hours. It's not going to happen. But I think that's the best thing. If they're going to keep Tua, that needs to happen like expeditiously. Like it's just you're not going to find success. I don't think with him as a QB when they got to play in cold weather, and that is a part of the NFL. For the Steelers, though, it was a necessary win. The Dolphins, the first half was a little bit more competitive. I'm like, okay, maybe the Dolphins came to play. And then I went to go to
Hmm.
the kitchen and cook, and I came back and I said, oh, I guess they didn't. And that was that.
Yeah.
Looking at the schedule though. So right now the Steelers are 8-6. Ravens are right behind them 7-7. Obviously, the Steelers won the first matchup against the Ravens. But looking at the schedule going forward, Steelers have the Lions next week. Then they have the Browns, which honestly they should win, but we'll
Yep.
see. And then they play the Ravens again. Ravens have the Patriots, who just lost to my Bills. Shout out to Bills Mafia. And then they play the Packers without Michael Parsons. And then, of course, they face the Steelers. When you think about this record, the last few games leading into the playoffs, which team do you think has the edge in terms of like the schedule?
Well, I think the Steelers have the edge because they get to play the Browns, and I just don't have any confidence in anything that the Browns can do
Hmm.
offensively. So,
Hmm.
with that being said, I mean Detroit is they got their backs against the wall. That's gonna be a tough game.
Hmm.
Detroit can beat the Steelers. It's gonna be in Detroit. Controlled environment. That's gonna be a really good game. That's gonna be a tough game for the Steelers.
Hmm.
But if they can take care of the Cleveland Browns, I believe they'll be fine because I don't think the Ravens are gonna win out.
You don't? You don't have them?
No.
The Patriots are going to be a tough matchup, obviously.
Yeah, the Patriots will beat them next
Packers.
week.
I mean, both games
Packers will
both
beat
games
them
will be
too.
highly competitive.
Yeah, the
So.
Ravens might lose out.
Hmm. When it comes to the Packers, that's the thing right now because they got some injuries. I'm not sure when Christian Watson's coming back. They said it wasn't like season ending, so I'm not sure if he's going to be back. Hopefully he is. Um, Jordan Love he looked a little shook it yesterday, but that happens. That's the
Right.
thing with Jordan Love. There's some games where he's like on a high. He just looks like he's just unstoppable out there. You're like, man, that guy is so talented. The other
Right.
games you're like, huh, Jordan? Like, why? How that happen? So I think missing Micah is gonna, get towards the playoffs is gonna be is gonna have a huge impact. You know,
Yeah,
they
I
said
mean, I mean,
who gave up?
Micah, you lose something when
Who
you
gave up?
lose something. Who gave up? Say who gave up? But you lose some when you lose Micah.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong. You don't lose everything when you lose him. He's
Yeah.
not the whole difference maker on defense. They still have great players on defense, so they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna be okay. But Michael gives you that extra ability to get to the quarterback when you know that the opposing team has to throw the ball.
He
You know,
requires a lot of attention. You're not going to just leave him out there wide
right.
open. You can
He
put at
can
least two
close
defenders
games.
there. Hmm.
Right. He can close games out. And I think every team needs a closer. Well,
Yeah, I can get that.
I wouldn't say the Browns gave up, but they might as
We'll
well.
get we'll get there. We'll get there in a little
Right.
bit.
But yeah, the Steelers, I mean not the Steelers, but the Green Bay Packers, Michael Parsons, he has a unique ability to get to that quarterback.
Hmm.
And when the quarterbacks in today's age, a lot of these quarterbacks, they like to
Hmm.
scramble. I was watching them play yesterday against the Denver Broncos, and Bo Nix, you know Bo Nix has legs too. He can
Hmm.
run a little bit. He's a little bit mobile. But it was hard for him to run away from Michael Parsons.
Hmm.
Like Michael Parsons is really fast. He can catch those guys.
Uh-huh.
And that's an advantage that he has. I mean, even a Myles Garrett, I'm watching Myles Garrett play against Chicago yesterday, and Caleb
Hmm.
Williams breaks out, and G- Garrett can't catch him.
At
Caleb
all.
Williams just he was just too
I
fast.
was like, poor
But
Miles.
Michael Parsons can catch him though.
Hmm.
And that's the difference that Michael Parsons brings to your team. He can catch those mobile quarterbacks when they're trying to run away. And
Hmm.
he caused a lot of havoc, especially in the fourth quarters of big football games. So the Green Bay Packers are gonna miss Michael Parsons from that aspect.
Um, Getting back to the Steelers and the Ravens, I'm gonna give the Steelers the edge just because I feel like Aaron Rodgers is healthier right now than Lamar Jackson is. I don't think Lamar is healthy. He hasn't looked like himself since he came back. And maybe when the season's over, he'll come out and they'll talk about it. We'll actually hear what was going on. They're trying to keep it under wraps right now, but you cannot convince me that he is healthy. I've seen too much of Lamar. I'm like something's off. Like if it's not a physical thing, I don't know if it's just something mentally going on off the field or some personals. I don't know. It's just not what I'm used to seeing from him. Even like usually regular season, he's usually on one. You know what I mean? Playoffs,
Right.
he might have some slippage there, but usually regular season, even though it's always like up there. Every year, like every season, he always goes up a notch to me. Every time I watch him, I'm like, what is his ceiling? You know what I mean? Because I
Mm-hmm.
always see him go up each season. But this year after injury, I'm like, something's off. I don't know what that something is. But something's off. So
Well,
I'm gonna have to give the Steelers the edge based off of that because he's not healthy and he looks like it to me.
he played well this week against Cincinnati. He played well throwing the ball. He played well the week before last. He was using his legs a lot more. He was running. I felt like he felt his back was against the wall.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's football. I don't think anybody's 100% healthy at this point. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is playing with one hand, and even with Lamar Jackson not running as much he run, he can
Hmm.
still run way better than Aaron Rodgers can run. Aaron Rodgers can't go nowhere.
Hmm.
He if he's not operating that pocket, I mean, I saw a sack at the end of the game. It just made me laugh because Aaron Rodgers just laid down on the ground, and I was like, here's a guy who knows when the journey is over. He's not gonna do anything extra that he know he can do it. He's just gonna lay on the ground and hopefully somebody toss him a blanket. So but I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I think even with Lamar playing at whatever percentage he's playing at,
Hmm.
he's better than Aaron Rodgers at this stage of Aaron Rodgers' career. I just think um they had such when he went out with the injury, he was out for a while and the team couldn't win a game. And I think they end
Did they
up
win
winning
one
maybe
without him with
yeah,
what's his name?
they end up
They won like
winning
one,
one
right?
game when Tyler
Yeah.
Huntley got in. Tyler
Yeah.
Huntley played a good game. They won a
Hmm.
game, but I think they lost four straight before that time. And those are
Yeah.
four huge losses that they can't
They
get
definitely
back.
struggled. You're absolutely right.
But I think Lamar Healthy had to play the whole year.
Hmm.
Even if he was at the percentage he is, whatever it is right now, I think we'll be having a whole different conversation.
I mean, we're gonna see. Right now I know TJ Watt, he had one of his lungs
Yeah.
collapsed. Something's going on with his
Yeah, a lung
lung.
injury. Yeah,
So
had
yeah,
surgery.
he had surgery. Yeah. So I don't know how soon you recover from that and bounce back. When it comes to the NFL, they give him all kinds of different shots and things. He'll be back out there like
Yeah.
2 days from now, 2 hours later. So I don't know when he's gonna come back. But I think they will need him.
Oh
They
yeah.
will need him, especially in the playoffs.
Well, I was listening to a post game interview Aaron Rodgers did
Hmm.
after the game, and
Hmm.
he sounded like he was expecting TJ Watt to be back next week. I mean, this
Yeah, you
week,
know
short week,
how it goes.
Thursday.
That's how it
Thursday.
goes.
I was like, I was like, "Are you sure, Aaron?" Like he's come back Thursday against Detroit.
Surgery Monday
I was
on
like,
your
"Man, this
eye,
man
come
just
back
had long."
Tuesday.
When I hear long surgery, I'm thinking, I'm thinking at least 3 weeks. But hey, this is football again.
You
These
would think
are
so, right? Because you need to breathe. You need your lung to
yeah,
be
but
working properly.
and,
But
and, and I keep trying to tell you, and I feel where you be coming from, but football players mostly consist of manly men. These are
yeah,
alpha dogs.
I get it.
They gorillas, you know. They don't they're not like regular human beings. They don't want to be treated like regular human beings. They want to do the
Hmm.
impossible. They want to do the miraculous. They know the consequences that they face by playing these games,
Hmm.
and the consequences can happen to them. And you can ask them would they do it all over again, and they'll tell you
And they
I
would
would
say
do it all
yes,
over
of
again.
course. Look, I get it. I'm all for a competitor. Obviously, you got paid. You wanted your money. They paid you your money. You want to get out there. You want to compete. You want to hopefully get to a championship run, especially with Aaron Rodgers. One of the greats. Especially if he's going to retire, you want to be a part of that. I get it. Even if he's not
Right.
there, you still want to be out there competing with your team. You don't want to be at home with your feet up watching the game. I just hope that his lung is okay when he comes back. That's
Yeah,
all
me
I
too.
hope.
Me too.
I just hope, because people know you got injuries. They run right into your lung on purpose,
Oh
run right into your
yeah.
knee on purpose. Like they
Yeah.
make it real hard for you. So I don't want him, to collapse out there with one lung. But I'm pretty sure in the NFL they'll give you some kind of shot. They'll give you something to inflate your lung right before the game.
Right. Right.
You'll have like some extra air for the next couple of hours, and then you'll go back home sore, gasping. But they'll figure it out. That's what they do. It's miraculous to me. I saw. We'll get there a little bit later, but oh yeah, so we're gonna since we moved on, right? Because you brought up Joe Burrow, right? And y'all know I love Joe Burrow, but I'm just like I saw his the last couple of like interviews he's had with the press. I'm like, Joe, what's going on? You good? I'm gonna play this to you, for you and see what you think. Where'd it go? No, hold on, y'all. And let me tell. I can still hear you. You can still hear me, right?
Yeah, yeah, you good.
Cool. I just had it, y'all. My apologies. But while I'm looking for this in the meantime, what are your thoughts on Joe Burrow? I was really surprised that they held up to 0 points. Because
I
I'm like,
was
win or lose, like one thing they're gonna
right.
do, like they're gonna put up some points now. They definitely gonna put up some points. And I was like zero, but I was like, I know the Ravens defense, they have their moments. They're good, but I'm like, are they that good to hold Joe Burrow to zero? Like not even a field goal, not even one. And that's what really caught me off guard. But what are your thoughts about the game you watched yesterday?
I was shocked myself.
Hmm.
The Baltimore Ravens defense, like I said, they have been playing well over
Hmm.
the past 4 or 5 weeks. But damn, this is Joe Burrow we talking about. And I was not really concerned, but I had question marks being raised last week when Cincinnati played Buffalo. And I told you, I said, Joe Burrow's threw two of the worst interceptions I've ever seen in my life.
Hmm.
And it cost them the game. He cost his team the game against the Buffalo Bills. So after that game, and I think these are the comments you might be about to play, where he's talking about he wants to have fun and it's not as fun
Oh,
and
that's
he's been
no, that was
losing.
that was last week. No, I'm not talking about
Okay.
those, but I was like,
Okay. Well, he made those comments and that it just sounded like a Joe Burrows that's been dejected. He wants to win. He had so early in his career, they went to the Super Bowl. So he had early success. He's been winning. He was winning in LSU. He was winning early in his career in Cincinnati, and now they're going on their third straight year in a row with no playoffs, and it's wearing on them, and they need help. and I just think he's feeling that pressure, the outside pressure. People definitely when you sign for the money that he signed for, people want to win. People in Cincinnati want to win. He wants to win. His teammates wants to win, and they're not winning, and they're not even close to winning. So,
Hold on, I think I found it now.
so yeah, I just think
I know you're
it's
taking
wearing
a lot
on
of
him.
responsibility for today's.
Can you
Yeah, I
guys
can
see
hear.
it right now? Can you see the screen?
Yeah, but no, Joe Burrow isn't on the screen. I heard sound.
He's not on the screen. It says it's sharing, but you can't see it.
No, I can't see it.
You can't see it. That's so weird. Hold on. You said you could hear it though, right? Hold on.
Yep.
There we go. All right. Hold on. There we go. Maybe that's it. Y'all, look at me. I'm figuring stuff out, y'all.
Sometimes you
I'm
gotta play
figuring.
with it. Pause.
I can't with you. I cannot with you every time. Oh man. Let me go back. But no, go ahead and see what you were saying. I'm still listening to you.
Yeah, I just think it's wearing on him. I think he wants to win. I think he wants to win badly. He's a competitor. He knows that he's the top echelon of NFL quarterbacks, and when you're
Hmm.
not winning, especially the way they went out yesterday, 0 points. I just think it wears on them. Something's got to be done in Cincinnati, and it has to be done immediately. I don't know if it means you got to look into the coaching staff or if you
I
got
know you're
to.
taking a lot of responsibility for today's game, but
And you can hear it now, right?
Yeah, I can hear
things
the
that
sound.
has come out of this season is how much is on your plate and the record when you were out and last week's perfect example, the turnovers, you guys lose the game. Do you feel like there's too much weight on you where it feels like if you're not perfect, the team is good enough around you to pick you up?
I want everything on my plate. I want that's the position I want to be in. And I feel confident in all those guys in the locker room. Like I said, today, there's not a team in the NFL that would have won the game today if I was quarterback.
Team's record is headed in the wrong direction. Do you think your play is slipping down the slope in the wrong direction over the last couple of years?
I feel very confident in how I played. Obviously, today, in my opinion, is an outlier. I think I've been consistently great for years and years and years.
So, it wasn't like showing him actually, but I don't know if you actually saw it like yourself, like you watched it after the game. One of the things that stood out to me, or like you spoke about, he just seems like he's just having like a mental break. You know what I mean? Like mentally, he's like he's checked out, and I think that's one of the bigger reasons why they lost the game. I don't think it was so much that the Ravens' defense was just so spectacular that they held them to 0 points because we saw Joe Burrow light it up a couple of weeks ago. Like we know what he's capable of, and for him to for the 0 points, I just feel like all the like also the constant injuries, like they take a toll, I think, mentally, like you play and then like you're hurt and you're missing multiple months and then like you have a really great season like he did last season and then it's not enough, and you know Jamar, triple crown winner and everything, and then not fast forward to this season, you come out and you win the first two games, usually you lose, and then you hurt, have your toe issue, whatever it's called, and then you come back and the season's pretty much done anyway. But you come back and try to give your team a fighting chance, and it's just not working now. I just feel like honestly, I'm just beginning to wonder. I'm just like, is I know Joe Burrow is super young, but do you think in any world possibly like I mean like the next season or two, like Joe Burrow, we can see him like announcing early retirement?
I wouldn't be surprised. And the reason I wouldn't be surprised is because I've seen guys do it. I've seen
Hmm.
and I saw what Andrew Luck did.
Hmm.
Andrew Luck left the game early because he was beat up. And it just happens. The average football career is 3 years. That's what a lot of people got to remember. Guys don't.
I know it was 3 years. I knew it wasn't long. I knew it was 3 though.
Yeah, it's like 3 years. So you know, and a lot of times it's because it's 53 men on the roster. Usually your 45 to 53, those guys don't last too long. Your superstar players usually play a lengthy career, but sometimes you're just not durable. Sometimes, I mean, RG3 didn't last too long. I mean, it just happens. I've seen a lot of guys who just didn't get to play that long because those hits are for real. They're real hits. When you hit that ground is hard. The ground don't move, and you get little knick-knack injuries. And guys like Joe Burrow, they play to win big time football games. They want to win Super Bowls.
Yeah.
And he's not in that position to win those games. Partly due because his team is that good, and the other part is due because he's had to be out so many games throughout his career already due to injury. So I'm pretty sure a lot is weighing on him, is weighing on his shoulder. Like I said, when you get that kind of money, that even builds more pressure that you want to win. And I love his accountability. He said that I don't care who was, if I was playing quarterback for any team today, we would have lost. And he knows it. So I don't know what Cincinnati has to do to go forward, but I do know this. It's going to be very important for them to make football fun again for Joe Burrows. Or else you could see him either retiring early or just leaving Cincinnati and going somewhere else.
I was gonna say at this point, maybe a fresh start might be better. A fresh start someplace else. Miami. Hello.
Well, I don't like that. I don't
Miami.
like that idea. I don't like that idea because, man, you're a competitor. It's football. Win. If it was if it were all on the organization, the reason why you weren't having success, I'd be like, okay, get him out of there. But it's not all on the organization. Some of this is on Joe. And
I think it's a combination of things. Like, I don't
yeah, I
think
mean
like
it's a combination, like I said, but it's not
just the
100%.
defense,
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not LeBron in Cleveland, his first go round, where the organization just doesn't do you any good. They don't help you at all. Okay, it's time for you to go. But if it's all on, but since it's not all on the organization, some of this is on Joe Burrow, because that same organization you went to the Super Bowl with in your second year.
He did.
And so, and they put pieces around you. They put Jamal Chase around you. You got T. Higgins. They've tried to improve the O line the best they could. They got a running back there. And then even when Joe Burrow came back from injury, because the way the AFC North was shaping up with Pittsburgh going on the downward spiral and Lamar Jackson being out himself, and they were losing so many games, Cincinnati were right in the thick of things. And it just didn't happen for him. So I hope he doesn't leave Cincinnati. I hope he fights it out and sticks it out, and they have an opportunity to improve the team. And hopefully he can stay healthy, because with him healthy, that's a great division to be in. It's very competitive. I mean, if you look at it, Cincinnati and the Baltimore Ravens have the best quarterbacks in the division, but somehow Pittsburgh still is still first place. So I gotta give a lot of credit to the coaching, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, at all. But okay. But no, let's just like hypothetically speaking, right? Let's say in the perfect world, or in alternate world, Joe Burrow's like, you know what? I'm tired of being in Cincinnati. What other organization you think will be a happy place for Joe Burrow?
Anywhere where it's not cold. You got, considering he played at LSU for the most of his career. And I think he played up in Ohio for a minute in state Ohio before he transferred to LSU. But
New York Jets?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could start naming all the bad teams. We can go the Raiders.
No, I'm just thinking. I said the Jets because number one is New York, and then obviously Jackson Dart. The Giants are all excited about having that young QB. But I'm like with Joe Burrow here, because I'm in New York. You guys, if y'all don't know, I could imagine like that kind of the competition, like the way the media will be going with Joe Burrow here in the New York market, and having Jackson Dart for the Giants would be very, very interesting.
Yeah, I would put him somewhere where they have better coaching. So I would put him Miami.
You throwing shade out to Aaron
No, I
Glenn?
just don't. I like I spoke to you before the show. I think Aaron Glenn is about to. I don't think he's gonna be long for the course in with the Jets.
Not even next season, no.
No,
One more
I think
season?
he's too much of a player's coach for me, and you kind of need somebody, especially Joe Burrow. You need somebody who's really an offensive mind,
Yeah.
or you need a authoritarian. Somebody who's gonna put their foot down and
Mhm.
coach the football team and not let the players
So you think
run
Miami?
their
If you
style.
had your way, you would say Miami?
Yeah, I would say Miami because if Mike McDonald is there, I think he's a real good offensive mind.
Mhm.
Miami would be one. I would say Arizona. I think Gannon is a good offensive mind as a coach. I want to say Cleveland,
I
but
was gonna say
Cleveland is a
Cleveland.
mess. Yeah, I only want to say Cleveland because Kevin Stefanski is the offensive mind that he needs. Kevin Stefanski just doesn't have the quarterback that he needs to run the system, and he got too much.
We'll get there.
Yeah, he got too much around him. But I'm just thinking of
Uh-huh.
offense. He needs Joe Burrow if he's going to go somewhere. I mean, that's exactly why they got the head coach they got in Cincinnati. He's an offensive guy.
Yeah.
But if you were going to leave, I would say Miami or Arizona. And Vegas,
ATL. You gonna switch out Captain Kirk?
Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. No. He
Atlanta,
got enough swag to be in the AT. I could see him with a little swag, sir.
Yeah, Atlanta would be great. I mean, it'll be great for Joe Burrow down south in the dome. I don't think they got the right head coach.
Gotcha.
For Joe Burrow. So I'm just thinking I think he needs to play with an offensive minded head coach who can get it done.
Well, I mean, honestly speaking, I think at this point, because like you're not going to get into the playoffs. No, it's just not going to happen this year. It didn't happen last year. I think he needs to just sit down. Just let him have a seat. Get your mind together. Because even like looking at him when he's sitting there, he just looks like he's just going through the motions.
Yeah,
like I'm here, so I don't get fined.
Yeah, but you don't want to lose the respect of the players in the locker room. And if he decided to sit down without being injured, then I mean, even me, I wouldn't look at him the same. I look at him like a quitter, and you can't win with a quitter. So you got those other guys. If Chase is gonna go out there and play, if T Higgins gonna come back and go out
you
there
might
and
want to
play,
sit them down too at this point.
Yeah, but see, that's football. See, that's what I'm saying. Those guys, they're not wired.
No, I'm saying
that
if Joe
way.
Burrow's not playing, that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Because there's no point in putting him out there, with your backups and
Yeah,
backups.
but you got to get numbers. Football players get paid off numbers. They don't get
Well, they
paid
got that
off.
contract though, so they're good. They just got paid last season, this season.
Well, T Higgins can be let go at any time. He's gonna be trying to re-up his contract. Jamar Chase recently got his number,
right?
but you owe it to the rest of your teammates. I mean, those not the only guys who's trying to get contracts. You got other teammates. Chase Brown want to get money. Gasecki wants to get money. You got other guys who want to get money, and they're relying on you. I mean, you're a team. I mean, that's just
true.
how the locker room works. So for a guy to just bow out of the season because it got hard.
Well, I meant like management.
I meant like
management said him, not him just going to management saying, "Hey, you guys, I want to go home now. I want to go to Cancun." I don't mean like that. But
yeah,
I'm looking at him.
You can lose the locker room that way, and then you out of a job. Once you lose the locker room, you a lot of times you don't get them back. So
yeah, when I look at who left the comment, looking at him, for them to have 0 points in the game yesterday to me was very glaring. And it wasn't, like I said, if it wasn't because it was solely how awesome the Ravens. It's not like they were playing the Houston Texans defense. You know what I mean? Like if it was the Texans defense, I'm like, okay, like that defense is something else. I get it, but the Ravens defense, like we saw him play the Ravens not too long ago. We saw him not too long ago. You know what I mean? It was a very different game. So when I'm looking at him in the interview and I'm looking at him and how he's playing, he just seems like he's checked out. Like, and if you're gonna go out there every week and you're like not even really in it, like you're going through the motions, obviously physically, but like mentally, like you're not really there. You're not helping the team anyway. Like you're not helping them. You're there, yes. They're looking at you out there on the field, and like Joe is out here with us, but Joe is not really there with you at the same time. So if you're gonna go out there for the next 3 weeks and look like that, I'm like, go have a seat. If that's how you're gonna look.
Joe needs to get his head right, and
that's
Joe
what I'm
needs
saying.
to go out there and he needs to perform. Like I said, I'm glad he's accountable for his actions yesterday.
Yeah.
And hopefully he checks himself and he goes out there and he be better for his teammates. Whether win, lose, or draw, be better for your teammates, man. Like
he's gonna say the right thing though. He's never like he's not the kind of QB that's gonna be like, oh well, yeah. I mean today, like the defense really sucked.
Scoring 0 points is understandable.
He's gonna go out there and put on himself, even no matter what happens. He did that pretty much last year. We knew like it wasn't on him
Yeah,
plenty of
but
times last year. He was like, I gotta be better.
yeah,
Like you scored 38 points, 42 points. I gotta be better. I gotta score 60, like it's
right.
so he's gonna say the right thing. Butthole
It looked
91.
like it said
Butthole
butthole
91.
91.
Butthole 91. Need to trade Higgins. Too much money allocated to one side and a few players. Depth is important. I understand that. Well, no, but he he wanted Jamar, he wanted,
Yeah,
T. Higgins, so they gave him what he wanted. But I do agree. Like I said to you yesterday, like, the QBs take up so much of the cap, because obviously the quarterbacks, and then, you have three people or two who get pretty much all of the money, and then now other positions, are lacking, and that affects the outcome, and the overall, record of the team because you need a tight end, you need somebody on the defensive line, all these different things, so I never agree with that because it's a team sport. I always say that. That's how I see it. I know the QB gets all the praise when they win, they get all the blame if they lose, but this is still a team sport, and you got to have people out there, to support you and to back you up. So I don't know what they're gonna do, and honestly, in Cincinnati, I just think Joe Burrow needs to go to Cancun and just
right.
put his
He'll be
feet up
going
on the
soon.
beach, like put his toes up, get a little tan or something, and get his mind right and
Right.
come back ready next season.
Yeah, he'll
That's
be there
what I'm
soon.
saying.
3 weeks. Make your reservations. Well, that's cheap.
Cancun, Italy, I don't know, just somewhere. You know what I mean? My thing is not like playing properly, but I'm gonna move on because I don't want to like stall the show up. We're gonna move on. Where we at? I'm gonna go on to my guy. Y'all know how I feel about Joshua Tyrell Allen. Stop playing with it. Mayday but I'm gonna keep it cute. Mayday nothing. All right. Joshua Tyrell Allen was out there looking like Superman as he does when he needs to. I was proud of my Bills. I was looking at this. I was watching Shedeur. I watched Shedeur on live, and I was looking at the score, and I was like, "Oh, come on, Buffalo! What the heck is happening?" And I turned around. I said, "Oh, one touchdown. Wait, two. Wait, three. Hold up, lead." And I think I text you. He's like, "Oh, they had the lead," and I was like shaking my head. Then they got it back again. We won the game.
Right.
So woo woo. Oh man. Right. You gotta make that louder though. Come on, you gotta have all applause for Josh. Run that back.
I should have gave him a.
Uh-oh.
That's what I should have gave him.
You see, you always hate. You know that? I don't know what be going on with you. But I was proud. One thing I know, I don't like the defense. I said that from week one. But they turn it on when they need to. Like when when they're feeling good, they got the vibes are high and the momentum's going, like they're really, really good. I'm concerned because playoffs, you put yourself in a 21-0 hole, you may not come back from that more times than not in the playoffs. You really got to be careful. There's been a few games that they've gotten into a hole. They start out the season in a hole with the Ravens, and then obviously some things happen and they got back in the game, ended up winning the game, but that's not always going to be the case. They got to figure out a way to start off better. Keep the game, like the defense seems to come along more in the second half. The first half, they're kind of just, I don't know what's going on. They're asleep out there. I don't know what's going on, but when in the second half, they wake up and then everything starts to flow and they start to get their stops and it starts going. I need them to figure out a way to get that going sooner rather than later, especially going into the playoffs. I don't know if they're going to win a division because obviously they're like one game behind the Patriots, and now they're tied. And obviously there's a few more games to happen. I think the Bills play the Eagles. They play the Browns next week, and I forgot who their last game is. I can't remember. And I don't know what the Patriots final few games are. I know they're playing the Ravens next week, but outside of that, I'm not sure what their final two games are. So it's gonna be really, really important, I think, both of these teams. But what do you think? What did you think about the Bills yesterday? Did you think were you more confident with the Bills, what you saw, or you like Drake made there's a little bit of hole, there's a little hole there in the boat?
Well, I think New England Patriots took their feet off the gas. They were 21-0, and it's like we're gonna coast this one on out, and you can't do that anytime you're playing against a Josh Allen-led football team. Because at any minute, Josh Allen can put on a cape and he can go out there and he can be Superman and he can bring the team back, and that's exactly what he did yesterday against the New England Patriots. I mean, it was an excellent win for the Buffalo Bills. Once they got rolling, the New England Patriots couldn't stop the bleeding, and they end up, really second half. I mean, they did to the Patriots what the Patriots did to them in the first half. and Drake May couldn't turn the light switch back on. Once he turned it off, he couldn't turn it back on, and he ended up having a pretty bad game. So, but the Patriots had won 10 straight. I think they were due for a loss. Sometimes when you head to the playoffs like that, I think it's good to get a loss. You know, you need to have that sour taste in your mouth so you can get back to working and understanding that, okay, we can get beat. These are the things we were doing to have success. This is what we need to do going forward, and we need to go ahead and put the pedal to the metal again. Joey Bosa was huge yesterday for Buffalo. You know, he was coming back. He had been out a couple weeks. He was coming back. I don't think he's 100% healthy, but he was healthy enough to rush the quarterback when they know that the New England Patriots are in a situation where they have to pass the ball. And that's why they bought Joey Bosa in. They bought him in because the idea is the Buffalo Bills offense can get us a lead. And once we're in the lead, we can just peel back and go get the quarterback. And when you got a guy like Joey Bosa, if he's healthy, man, that's one of the better guys in the league to have to go rush your quarterback. So with Buffalo they have Cleveland next week. I expect them to win that game. They got the Eagles, which could be a tough game. We'll see.
Yeah.
That can go either way. But then you end up with the Jets. So I expect the Buffalo Bills to win 2 out of their last 3 games easy. So they'll be in the playoffs. So it's going to be up to New England to win. I think.
Who were the Patriots last few games outside of the Ravens?
I think New England. Let me see. Let me make sure I get their schedule right.
While are you looking that up, the conversation, it's so funny how the conversation just changes week to week, man. I'm trying to tell you. So now they're putting Josh back in the MVP conversation again this season. I'm like, y'all, I'm trying to tell you, you be up here one week, you have
That's
one
how it
bad
goes.
game, they just drop you down. Like you could have won like 15 games in a row and then had one bad game. And they're like, oh man, see, I knew he wasn't trustworthy. You got to watch him. I'm like, y'all, like it's one game. But honestly speaking, Drake May, I think he's very talented. Huh? Yeah,
it's week to week.
Yeah, he's super young. Obviously, he has a lot to learn. I'm interested to see how he plays in the playoffs. I know they had a really good like regular season. Obviously, even if they don't make it past the first round, like going by where they came from last year and it being his like second year, kind of like he started like late last year anyway. So I was like his first full season as being a starter in the NFL. You know, they made a lot of great progress. You know, Mike might be coach of the year. I'm not sure between him or Big Ben. In Chicago, we'll see how that goes. But they definitely made some great strides and they have a lot to build on, look forward to for the future of that franchise. I think for the Josh right now, and I know it sounds cliche, but Patrick Mahomes is out. Obviously, prayers for him. Lamar, I'm not sure what's going to happen with the Ravens this year. Joe Burrow, obviously, that's not going to happen. You know, so a lot of the heavy hitters that we were expecting to see are not there not going to be there this year in the playoffs. I know the defense is questionable, but Josh, I think, got to put that cape on and try to get to the championship this year. I don't want to say now or never. I hate to use the word never, because I know people say that now or never. But Josh is still so talented. I mean, he can leave in Buffalo and go someplace else, and who knows what could happen. You know what I mean?
He ain't leaving Buffalo.
Look, I'm not going to never know, but I do feel like this is a really, 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 really good chance. I just do not like the defense. The defense they're so off and on. I don't trust it. But you know, with Josh, you always going to have a fighting chance. So it'll be curious to see how they end up. I have a feeling like that Jets game they might lose. You know, it's always one of those games like, oh, they got the Jets, we're good. You know, what was it? But one game last year, I was like, oh, the Bills gonna win that game. I was like,
Jets
how
don't have a chance. Jets want to lose out. They want to get the quarterback in the first round. It's over for the Jets. I mean, they're not even starting Tyrod Taylor anymore or Justin Fields. They're starting this Brady kid. I never heard of them before. They just throwing people out. They just throwing people out on the field at this point. I mean,
but who are the Patriots' last 2 games? I know it's the Ravens and who else?
Then they're gonna win 2 out of their last 3 as well. They might win all 3 of them because they have the Ravens, then they get the Jets, and they get the Dolphins in New England.
Okay.
Yeah, in New England. So it's pretty bad. So
the Dolphins are so tricky. You know, like I said, they show up out of nowhere and then they just disappear. You know, like. Yeah. I don't even know what to say about them.
New England is going to be fighting for a home field, not only home field advantage, but that first round bye. Yeah. So that's going to be huge for them. And it's gonna make things interesting. It's gonna make things interesting because, like you said, the big dogs, what we consider the big dogs, and Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, those guys, Joe Burrows, those guys are not gonna be in the playoffs
No,
more than likely. And Josh Allen is gonna be the big dog at that point.
maybe
He's
Lamar.
the guy. And so now it's like, okay, you got the big dog versus these up and coming guys who are trying to make a name for themselves in the Drake Mays, in the Bo Nixes,
In their
the CJ
second year
Stroud,
too, so they still got a lot to learn.
right? The CJ Strouds, the Lawrences, the Trevor Lawrences. It's like these guys are saying we're next, and Josh Allen's like, I'm him.
Not yet.
I'm the MVP.
Hold
Right.
on.
So something's got to give. It's gonna make it interesting. It's gonna be real interesting come playoff time. We got 3 weeks. Hopefully everybody can stay healthy and we can have a good playoff run.
What do you think though? What do you think about Josh being back in the MVP conversation?
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's week to week. I think he should be in the conversation. I don't think he's at the top of that list.
Well, you have Matthew Stafford.
I still think Matthew Stafford will be at the top. Drake May will be at the top. I would have Jonathan Taylor up there, but the Colts have kind of tailed off since they lost their quarterback. So I would probably have Josh Allen somewhere like third or fourth on that list right now. And but I think he's definitely in the conversation.
Speaking of the Colts, right? Okay, because they had Phillip Rivers back out there, right? Phillip Rivers back out there. Oh man, I wish I could show the video. Like they had his high school team. They was all excited cheering for him. You know, him out there. Oh, don't do that. Let me tell you something. I was watching. I said, you know what? I was a little bit inspired. I said, you better go ahead out there, sir, and show your high school kids. No, like what time it is. They didn't see you back then, but show them what time it is now. I was happy that he went out there coming from the couch like a week ago, and he got out there and he said, "Hey, I'm gonna get out there and make it do what it do to the best of my my God given abilities." And obviously they almost got the win though. I mean, let's not we're gonna give credit to him managing the game. He didn't put a cape on or nothing, but he managed the game. He didn't get hurt, thank God. 'Cause I was a little bit worried at first, like, dude, like don't get hurt now for the holidays with your grandkids, But he walked away perfectly fine and whole intact. He was still in good spirits, He was very confident out there. I thought he might look a little bit shaky, being that he hadn't played. They said over 1,800 days.
He had nothing to lose,
but his health,
I mean, outside of that,
but I was happy for them. I know there's no moral victories, but for me that's a moral victory right there. I'm like, you better go ahead, grandpa, and get out there and show these youngins what time it is. What did you think though watching the game about the Colts? Do you think they actually have a chance though, like to make the playoffs with Phillip?
No,
hold on. Anthony Richardson has been cleared to resume football activities. That was announced earlier today. Fix your face. See your face behind the glasses. Fix your face.
I'd rather have the old man than Anthony Richardson. I wouldn't have Anthony Richardson. No one in my football. I'd rather have an old man back there. Matter of fact, I go see if Doug Flutie want to play. Who wants to play football?
Really? You
Yes,
think it's possible maybe he learned something, having lost his spot, having seen him go out and get a grandpa? No disrespect to Phillip Rivers. Like, okay, I need to like get it together.
Yeah. I don't really care too much for Anthony Richardson. Anytime, I like I said, I don't like quitters. I don't like guys who bow out of football games. I've been watching too much football. I mean, these new kids. I mean, he done something I never seen ever done in the football game before, especially from a quarterback. Quarterbacks don't like to come out the game, even when they busted all up. The hell, they want to stay in the game, and he like take me out. Like, nah, I don't ride with that. But I mean, he's still young, and hopefully he gets the opportunity to prove himself somewhere else. Hopefully, not in
that's the thing. Yeah,
Indianapolis.
I'm like, I hope that he gets a chance to show, prove himself. At least go someplace
Right.
else.
I mean,
I think
work
maybe
your
he
way
might have
back.
learned something.
I'm okay with him working his way back, going somewhere, being a scout team quarterback, maybe even being third string, and then you got to have a couple breaks. And I'm just saying that's how it goes. I mean, I saw Baker Mayfield, I saw Sam Darnold. They had to do the same things. They had to go all the way to the bottom and rise to the top. And nobody gave them nothing. And that's what it's gonna have to happen for him. He needs to go somewhere, start at the bottom, work his way to the top. I mean, I see rookies I mean,
Mhm.
and I know we're gonna talk about him a little bit later, but
Mhm.
Shedeur had to start all the way at the bottom and work his way to the
Mhm.
top.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. Nothing is gonna be handed to you on this level. All this entitlement that these young people feel like they are entitled to. Like,
Mhm.
no, you're not. Go work for it. Go start at the bottom, grind, grind, grind. And when you get your opportunity, go shine and get yourself back to where you were.
Mhm.
Because they already handed it to you. They handed you the keys to the Ferrari and you wrecked it.
And I think
So
that's it. I think a lot when you haven't had to really work for something and it's kind of just handed to you, like you don't really
right,
appreciate the same. Obviously there's quarterbacks like Bo Nix, for example, who played I don't know how many college games, compared to how many he
right,
played, and then his natural, athleticism physique is what moved him up, and he got drafted obviously, in that first round, top 10, which was a surprise to a lot of people because they didn't have him there coming into the combine. But I think there's a lot of maturing. I think I said a few weeks ago that he has to do. He got to stay healthy because even aside from being mature, like the injuries are just crazy. Every time he get hurt in practice, he get hurt warming
yeah,
up the game by himself. I'm just like, how did he get hurt by himself? Like what did
it's
how did he pull a hamstring just stretching? Like I don't know
right,
what's going on with him. Like I really don't. But I do hope that having this time. Obviously, having your starting position right given to you, right? They like, here you go. You're like, you're gonna be the franchise. We're putting everything behind you. We're gonna build around you. Him taking that for granted, and then having that competition between him and Daniel Jones, obviously coming to the season. He lost it obviously, and they go on this crazy run, with Daniel Jones, and then they go and get a grandpa. They didn't come
yeah,
back to you. They went to go get somebody at home who was on the couch just chilling for I don't know how many your past 5 years, and whatever. And then they
right.
come, you know. I hope that did something for him and he took something from that. And if when he gets his chance again, like he doesn't take it for granted this time. I really
Yeah,
hope so.
but speaking on the game this week, the Indianapolis Colts defense played very well. They played
Hmm.
lights out. I mean, Seattle didn't score a touchdown. They kicked 6 field
They kick their
goals.
field goals, yeah. Hmm.
And Phillip Rivers, he managed the game. They put a
Hmm.
lot on Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor handled the load for the most part.
Hmm.
They allowed Phillip Rivers to throw when he had to throw.
Hmm.
He made some key throws, some big throws. But again, he's 44 years old. He's
Yeah.
immobile. He's out of shape. I mean, you just look at his body. I mean, I was like, come on, like it really is embarrassing for the league, in my opinion. It's just a lot here. First of all, you telling me a guy who hasn't played in 5 years, you sign him
Hmm.
on Wednesday, you start him on Sunday. That's not even a full week. Y'all telling me that the quarterback position is the toughest position to
Hmm.
play in all the sports. You try to tell me that a 36-year-old guy named Cam Newton who stays in shape, he's not a better option than a guy who's 44 years old and hasn't played in 5 years. You
Why
try
do
to
you
tell
think?
me.
Since you brought up Cam, I thought about. I didn't say that. I was going to ask you after, but since you brought him up, why do you think they decided to go with someone like Philip Rivers, who's that old, 44, husband, father, grandfather, as opposed to going for someone like Cam, who is obviously still in shape? You see him on television and everything. Why do you think they decided to go with Philip?
I think it had more to do with the
Hmm.
relationship that Phillip Rivers had with Shane Steichen, and the fact that they clearly had a conversation in the offseason prior to this where Phillip Rivers coaching in high school is running the same playbook, the same plays that the Colts are running for his team. So he kind of know the playbook a little
Yeah,
bit.
I heard that
And so
earlier.
there was some familiarity with it. And sometimes when people like you, they just like you. You got relationships,
Yeah.
and Cam Newton don't have those relationships, especially with the people inside of the Indianapolis Colts building. So maybe that had something to do with it. But even with that, I mean, I'm just telling you what the NFL has been trying to sell to its fans over the
Hmm.
last 5 to 10 years. Guy's been out the game too long. He's been out too long. He's too old.
Hmm.
They tried to tell me when Kaepernick was out 2 years. Well, he's been out of football for 2 years. I don't even know if he still wants to play. You
Hmm.
know, you said something to me yesterday in a text. You were like, he seemed that Phillip Rivers seems like he missed football. They all miss football.
Yeah, he
Even the
did.
guys,
Hmm.
Shannon Sharp hasn't played football in years. He missed it. He just can't go physically do it anymore. But if he could, he would go back. If Ocho could go back,
Hmm.
Terrell Owens put out a tweet saying, "See, I told you age when wasn't." Terrell Owens still
Hmm.
want to come back at
Hmm.
50 years old. He still believe he can play. You know, all those guys they miss it because they ultimate competitors.
Mhm.
You know, you can't get that kind of high anywhere else. You know, being in the locker room, the team
Yeah.
camaraderie, you know, the competition level that you have. They all want to go out there and play. Phillip Rivers, to his credit, he wasn't the worst quarterback to play on Sunday. You know, and that says something for me. You know, it says a lot. He went out there, he gave the Indianapolis Colts a chance to win the football game.
Yeah, they
And
almost did now.
and with him doing that, I mean, he even threw a touchdown pass. With him doing that,
Yeah,
he
I saw the high
played
school kids going crazy. They were all
right.
excited.
He played better to my
Mhm.
expectations, but he wasn't great, and I still think it's an embarrassment to the league, to bring a 44-year-old guy who hasn't
Mhm.
played in 5 years to start an NFL game and not even have a whole week of practice. I mean, clearly, I mean this just, for me. With that being said,
Mhm.
I don't want to hear any excuses for no quarterback. He came in, he didn't have enough reps. He didn't have enough snaps. He didn't have enough time with the first string. All that goes out the window with me, because this man came in
How many
and
years did he play before he retired?
he played a lot of years. He played a lot of years, but he was just, to me, and you know, that's another thing I don't like about this whole Phillip Rivers hyping up.
Mhm.
He wasn't better than Cam Newton. He never won nothing in college. He didn't get to a Super Bowl. He didn't win the MVP.
Who said he
People
was
put
better?
No, I'm saying you got a lot of people in his media game who
Mhm.
Phillip Rivers, he was semifinalist for the Hall of Fame, and he's
Mhm.
a Hall of Fame. I'm like, wait a minute, y'all are some of the same people that were telling me that Cam Newton wasn't a Hall of Famer. Y'all
Mhm.
are some of the same people that were trying to tell me that Eli Manning wasn't the first ballot Hall of Famer, which he didn't end up being first ballot. But
Mhm.
both of these quarterbacks were better than Phillip Rivers. And I just don't get it. Phillip Rivers, he was okay. He was like a glorified Baker Mayfield.
Mhm.
Phillip Rivers couldn't wait to throw it to the other team. I mean, I don't understand how all of a sudden
Yeah,
he's
the
Tom
interception.
Brady
You were like,
Jr.
"There's the
He
Phillip Rivers
wasn't
I know."
that. He wasn't that. He was a
Uh-huh.
solid quarterback. He was fiery like Baker Mayfield. He talk a lot of junk. He
Mhm.
fires his team up. He'll go yell at the defenders. He'll do all that kind of stuff. I like his moxie and all that. His competitive drive is great. But as far as talent, he wasn't that guy. I don't understand how people can look at him and put him on a pedestal, and then you want to
Mhm.
mess on Cam Newton, who was a much better football player and
Mhm.
quarterback than Phillip Rivers was.
Well, like you said, all things go back to not necessarily what you know, but who you know. You know,
Right.
you could have all the talent in the world, you know, but people gotta like you. You know, they gotta like you. They gotta want to
Yeah.
deal with you. They gotta want you in the locker rooms. They gotta feel like they can coach you and talk to you, and you're gonna be easy to coach and deal with. And maybe they didn't feel that way about Cam. I can't. I'm not gonna even try to speak for him. You know what I mean? You know, but we'll see what happens with Indiana with the Indiana Colts. We'll see what they do with Anthony Richardson. Honestly speaking, I know Anthony, has his injuries, and I think he has a lot more growth. But if he
Mm-hmm.
can't beat out a 44-year-old, then we really got a problem. Unless
Well,
they
he
say
couldn't
like
beat
we're
out
not going to,
Daniel Jones.
like Daniel's also a lot younger, like, and he was still playing
Right.
football. It wasn't like he was at home for like 6 years or something and he came out of nowhere, like just in. I mean, I don't know if they're going to go back to Daniel Jones or what they're going to do because now he's obviously out for season injury. You don't know what he's going to look like, how he's going to look when he comes back. So what they were going to pay him, I think obviously it's going to drop tremendously. We'll see what that's like what they do. But just for Anthony Richardson, I'm like, if they give you a chance, you got to go out there and ball out, dude. They don't keep you. You got to go out there and show something. You got to go out there and show something. I still
I
believe in him, though. I do
I
believe in
think
him.
it's over with in Indianapolis. I mean, clearly he's not going to have a shot to
Hmm.
beat out Phillip Rivers. I mean,
Hmm.
Phillip Rivers is going to be there unless Phillip Rivers goes down, and even then, I think they'll go with Riley Leonard before
Yeah.
they go with Anthony Richardson. So
Yeah. I mean, he
I don't
hasn't. Yeah.
think I
It's been
think
a
once the
long time.
offseason start, clearly Daniel Jones is not going to be ready to start the season
Hmm.
next year. So they're going to have to be looking for a quarterback. I don't know if they'll go in the draft or they'll just get another guy off free agency, somebody who they can just bring in as like a stopgap guy.
Hmm.
But I think Anthony Richardson I think his days in India are done. And I hope they just let him go and let him start over. Go give him a fresh start somewhere. Let him go grind it and work his way back up to the
Sometimes a
top.
fresh
He's
start is what's needed too. Sometimes you need to
right.
go someplace and start
He's
over.
plenty young enough. He's plenty young enough
Was he
to go.
22? 20? He's still, what,
Yeah,
22,
yeah,
right?
he's
He's so
real
young.
young.
He's so young.
Right.
Oh man, y'all know how we feel when we get to this topic, y'all. It get a little heated sometimes when we move on to one Shedeur legendary Sanders. Okay. Now, y'all, if y'all follow me on here yesterday, I was on here watching live with y'all yesterday. We rocked out for the whole game. Had a little post game conversation about it, and obviously, wish I could play like the clip. Was a lot being said on Twitter yesterday about the uh I'm drawing a blank. Help me out, Night. Throw me a lifeline
About
about
the
the
game.
wristband. Thank you. The
Oh, the
wristband.
wristband. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a
And
whole. The media
that
just
was a
blew
big
that.
thing. I was like, what happened with the? Because I was watching the game. I was like, what happened with the wristband?
Right.
I didn't even like catch it. I was like, what are y'all talking about? So that was a whole big thing. And then Shedeur cleared it up. He said, no, it slipped out. A piece of it, like a piece of paper, had slipped out or something like that. Very quickly, and then put it back in, and you going about your business. But even aside from that, y'all know I love Shedeur. I'm always going back and forth with Notty about Shedeur and Kevin Stefanski and the coach and everything. But it was not a good showing for him yesterday. We just got to be honest. He didn't play well.
Brother D, what's up, brother D?
I don't even see him in chat. Hold on. He's in chat.
Yeah, he's in chat.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he says brother D.
You
Black.
got a different pot thing. I'm like, who's that? Okay.
Oh, okay. It must be on my
Because I was like, wait, how? I don't know Black Media. Okay, it's a different one. Okay, what's up? Don't be coming in here spying from different pages. Um, but overall, there was some things I liked that I saw. Um, but the three interceptions, one was not his. That was on Jerry Judy, who better not say not now, nothing for the rest of the season. I better not see him even clap just on the sidelines, just in cheering motion. Like, just don't clap at all. Just at all. Like, don't say not now, nothing, Jerry. But I like the Shedeur. He took accountability, for obviously needing to play better. One thing I noticed about him, like, no matter what you ask him, and he's learning, I see the growth in him. He's like, oh yeah, like, well, you asking questions to start trouble, or he was talking about the wristband. He's like, oh yeah, that just fell out. It was nothing, like move on, like he doesn't like feed into what the media is trying to push. And I like that he's going against it. I don't know how he really feels, but I like that he's not feeding into it. He's being professional. Obviously not a good showing. The Bears defense is really good, so we're not going to pretend like he was out there playing
Yeah.
against a bomb team, so he went out there and it is what it is, the NFL, it's big boy stuff. He had to get out there and get his toes a little bit, deeper into the water, and that he did. But as far as the positive side of it, did you like anything you saw from Shedeur yesterday against the Bears?
I mean, if I gotta come up with a positive, I like that he didn't drift in the pocket and take 15, 20-yard sacks.
Mhm.
The 5 sacks he took were relatively, short losses, 5-yard
Mhm.
losses, 4-yard losses. That was a positive thing. He made 2 good throws to Isaiah Bond down the field where he made the read that you had a wide receiver on the linebacker. I'm gonna put it up. I'm gonna give him a chance to make a play, and Isaiah Bond was able to make 2 huge catches. But I mean, other than that, and that's me pulling teeth, just trying to have something to say positive that he did in this game. Other than that, he really didn't do much in this game. I mean, there was a fumble loss that the referees saved him on. There was an interception that was dropped that if the DB would have got it on the out route, it would have been a pick 6. But fortunately, he dropped the rock. So, I mean, there wasn't too much positive, but I mean, some of the things that he was getting criticized earlier for, dropping too far back in the pocket and that type of thing, he seemed to have made some improvements in those areas. So Chicago, their defense was leading the league in takeaways. Like I said, every week I see Nashawn Wright get an interception. Byard is making a play. I mean, so those guys weren't no slouches. I knew that was going to be a real test for Shedeur coming to that game. This ain't the Raiders and this not the Titans. This is a real football team who's gearing up for the playoff and trying to get home field advantage going into the playoffs. So I knew they were going to play their best game. And Chicago Bears, a team that doesn't blitz often. I think they blitz 24% of the time. Yesterday, they blitzed 42% of the time because they knew who they were playing. So Give credit to them for doing their homework and coming in to win the football game. But yeah, there's not too much positive that I can take away from anything that Cleveland did.
Miss Stacy says there was a clip where some players say they gave up, not putting all the blame on Shedeur. There's one
Well, I
more.
think they all could have played with more effort.
Hold on,
They all
real
could have
quick.
played with more
Hold
effort. I
on,
mean, I was watching the clip just earlier
hold on.
today.
Let me just ask comment real
Okay.
quick for you. Say what you're gonna say. Then final comment from Miss Stacy. The team has to take some blame.
That's all the ways. I mean, every time a football game is played, it's a team game. You know, it's always on the team. It's never one person. You know, like I said to you a couple weeks ago, the quarterback gets a lot of credit for when teams win.
Yeah.
And so when they lose, they probably take
They
more
get-
blame
yeah.
than they should. But that's just the nature of the beast. Talk about clips where some players gave up. I mean, that was all the players. I was watching some film earlier of Chase Daniels breaking down Shedeur's football game, all 22 film. And one thing he pointed out, which I was like, damn, I didn't want to see that. I really hate to see it. When he threw that pick to the linebacker, Shedeur didn't move. I mean, he looked like he had gave up. So I mean, all those guys' body language in that game could have been better. They all at some point showed a lack of effort that it takes for you to play on this professional level. I didn't like what I was seeing on film from any of the players on offense. So I mean, you just like if I'm Cleveland, I take that tape, I put it in the incinerator, I burn it. There's nothing I can learn from this. I move forward. Let's go to Buffalo. Let's watch Buffalo film. Let's try to put a better outing. Because one thing about NFL players and teams, you don't want to put out bad film ever. So let's get rid of that film. Let's move on next week. Let's just try to be better going forward.
I will say, I mean, I had to write it down. I'm sure I remember it. So they had a total of 50 yards, like like 20 yards in that game. I think Shedeur was about 26 of those yards, out of the 50, which was crazy for a whole team, and given the fact he's really run that often, but for him to have like half of those yards, I thought was a wild stat. Obviously, we're missing. They're playing with some backups on that starting line because they had some injuries, and then who was out? I cannot think of his name right now. You guys, I'm drawing a blank.
Wyatt Teller was out.
And Joku.
Yeah, Joku was out.
So these are I mean, the O line's not that good to begin with, but then when you are missing, your starters and you're playing with pretty much backups, when Shedeur obviously is still learning, it was a lot going on. Obviously, he could have played better, there's no way around it, but yeah, it wasn't a good game, yeah, it wasn't a good game. I'm trying to find something, I'm trying to find something positive, but I think one thing to me that stands out, and even going back to college, is he holds the ball too long. I think he hesitates. I see him hesitate. There are times I feel like he wants to run, but then he stops, and then by the time he's like, okay, let me just run for it, they're like, boom, sack. I just want to see him like he already has the confidence already. He believes in himself, which is great. So but I just want to see him be more sure of himself. I think that comes with time, obviously. Like he's not gonna, learn it all within four starts. Well, three and then like the half a game, so 3 NFL starts. He's not gonna be like perfect, but I'm just looking to see at this point, I'm just looking to see him get better each game. Win or lose, I'm just looking to see if he takes better care of the ball next week against Buffalo. If he gets the ball out quicker, I'm just looking for little things to show some progress for him. But moving the conversation forward, what do you think Shedeur needs to do to show that he should be the starting QB over Dylan Gabriel, over Deshaun Watson coming back, not getting another QB in the draft? What do you think he needs to do these next 3 games to say, I'm the starting QB of this franchise and you should build around me?
Win.
Well, I mean, they could still win. That could be a defense thing.
Yeah,
you know
beat
what I mean?
Buffalo, beat Pittsburgh, and who else do they got on their schedule?
Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and I forgot the last one. I mean, the defense is really good, so the defense can help you win games now. I'm talking about from
Cincinnati.
Shedeur, though.
Yeah, beat those 3 teams, and then I'll honestly, you know how I feel. I feel like I don't really care what he does. I believe they should just stick with. I believe he's going to be a good starting quarterback in this league if he's with the right team and has the right opportunity.
So you
I
think they
just
should get rid
believe.
of him and keep Dylan?
I just believe it. I believe in him that much. I believe he's
Mhm.
made of the right stuff. That's just what I believe. Now, I can't go off what I believe. I got to go off what's the proof being in the pudding, and to prove what I'm thinking about him is right.
Mhm.
I need you to go beat Buffalo. That's a home game. I need you to beat Pittsburgh. That's a home game. We send the Cincinnati. The quarterback is damn near checked out. I need you to
It
go up
might
in
be Joe
Cincinnati.
Flacco he playing out there against.
Right. I need you to go up in Cincinnati. I need you to beat Cincinnati. That's what I need you to do to prove it. But my thing is really, like I told you, I can go back to this. I hate to beat a dead horse. I just
Mhm.
think Cleveland did Dylan Gabriel a disservice. I think they did should do a disservice too. I think they, like I keep going back. I think they
Yeah, we can't
messed
keep
up by
going back though.
drafting.
We got to move forward at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah. I'm just saying. You saying what I think he got to do. Well, I think he got to do the same thing I wish they would have let Dylan Gabriel do, which is develop.
Mhm.
Like, you just got to pick one guy and go out there and send him out there and let him play and let him
And
develop. Let him take his lumps, because the truth of the matter is, out the 4 games, if I put your first 4 games against Dylan Gabriel's first 4 games, Dylan Gabriel is the better quarterback. So I need you to go out here and prove it in these last 3 games. I need you to go win. Because if you do that, then that's going to prove that you were the better quarterback.
Mhm.
And then everything else will right itself. You can go into the draft. They can get another O lineman. They're going to need another wide receiver because you got to let Jerry Jeudy go. I've been trying to tell people since game 1 when Joe Flacco, Jerry Jeudy was dropping passes, throwing them in the air for the defenders to pick. And I'm like, Jerry Jeudy ain't good. I've been saying this all season, but now that Shedeur is in the game, now everybody wants to say Jeudy ain't good. He ain't never been good.
I never heard anybody saying he was super good to begin with, even when before Shedeur was playing. Mistakes said he keeps getting hit, no blocking. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, the O line is not good. You
Well,
know.
I mean, and I will say this, because I was sitting there watching the game with this lady, and now she sounding brand new. We were sitting there watching. Yes,
Uh-oh.
yes, there were times that guys were coming through the line unscathed. He wasn't making a hot read and getting the ball out of his hand. He was just taking the hit. But we also saw plenty of times in that game, and we were pointing them out. He was just holding the ball. The line was protecting well. He had 5 seconds, 6 seconds. He's back there. Now, maybe no guys were getting open.
Yeah,
and
he's
that's when
always
you
he's
gotta,
always looking for somebody to be
right,
open. He's like, where am I going? Where am I
because
going? Where am I going?
because
Sack.
him and Gabriel have different styles. Gabriel plays more on script. Shedeur
Yeah.
plays off script, and
He
he
does.
looks to make big plays down the field. So yes, he makes more big plays down the field than Gabriel does. I mean, he'll throw the ball 30 yards, 40 yards down the field, make a play. Where Dylan Gabriel wasn't even letting the play progress to the point where he can throw that far. He's just trying to get rid of the ball as fast as he can. I mean, both work, and I don't think one is a knock over the other. But I'm
I think it
saying,
depends on who you're playing.
yeah, it depends on who you're playing, but don't hold the. You can't, in this league right here. You can't hold the ball for 5 or 6 seconds and
Yeah.
not get rid of the ball. By
Yeah.
5, if you had the luxury of holding the ball for 5 seconds, you need to be then to jumped out that back window and ran out and this lady don't even read that lady comment, because that lady is lost her mind. That lady has lost her mind. Look, that lady has totally lost her mind. But you need to be done jumped out that back window, or you need to be done got rid of the football.
Okay, if I'm being completely objective, right? Because obviously I'm rooting for Shedeur,
Right.
but I try to be as honest as possible. They both, Dylan and Shedeur, they each won one game. Like
Right.
it's not like
One of them got to play the Raiders though. I don't count. Then you did against the Raiders. You might well not even won that game. You played the Raiders.
I mean, well, look, this is when they put him in, so I can't knock him for playing. Who the schedule gave. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is.
Right.
So I was like you said, like Dylan's more on script, Shedeur's more. They each have strengths. They each have weaknesses. I think at this point, if you're Kevin Stefanski, Andrew Berry, whoever's making this decision, Jimmy, you got to figure out who you think is better overall for your locker room and for where you're trying to go.
Right.
Shedeur has a really tough test with these last few teams because the Bills not going to be no joke. They know he's a rookie coming in. Like they're going to try to go out there and have their fun with him. And then you got Josh on that side. I don't like the way the defense has started out the past 2 games. They started out really slow the past 2 games, and they kind of picked it up, later on in the game. Myles Garrett was kind of pulling at that groin. I don't know how hurt it is, but I was like, what's going on with your groin, Myles? He was kind of pulling at it, tugging at it. So I'm not sure what's happening with that. And obviously he's their best, player, period. So we'll see how that goes. I think if Shedeur can show that he can hold his own, you know what I mean? And I'm not expecting him to win against the Steelers and the Bills. I'm just not, just given these teams are better. They're just overall better teams. They're really well coached. You got Aaron Rodgers, a Hall of Famer. Josh will be a Hall of Fame, later on, and reigning MVP and things like that. So I'm not expecting him to outplay either one of them, if I'm being completely honest. I'm just looking to see if he can hold his own and not turn the ball over like multiple times in the game. That's like what I'm looking for, like right now. I was looking for some progress and just little things. I think if he can be the reason that he might be the reason that they win the game because the defense is so good. They're gonna let the defense take the lead anyway because the defense is the focal point of that team. But if Shedeur is not the reason why, like, damn, you know what I mean? Like Shedeur threw a pick right in the game, they could have won it. Like things like that. If he just manages the game, and he takes care of the ball, that to me is a win for him. It's a win for him.
Wait a minute.
What?
When Dylan Gabriel was just not turning the ball over and not losing the game, but not winning, they say, oh, he's not doing enough to win the game. I want the same energy that people have for Dylan Gabriel. I want them to have that same energy for Shedeur. I know. I know, but people are gonna watch this show and then they're gonna be influenced. I want the people to have the same energy they had for Dylan Gabriel to have for Shedeur. It's not gonna be enough for you to manage the game and not lose it. You have to go win it because that's what they said.
No, it depends on who you're playing.
For Dylan Gabriel, they said, "Well, he I know he's not losing the game. I know he's not turning it over, but he's not winning it either." Okay, that's why I said for me to separate it from him and Dylan Gabriel, I need him to go win the games because
I feel that's fair.
Dylan Gabriel, they were saying he needs to go win the game. Okay, go win the game.
That's fair. That's fair. But I also, like I said, but also like who you're facing. The Steelers, their defense is really good.
Right.
Depending on what day.
Right.
TJ might be back. He may not be back, but it's one long. We'll see what happens. So we'll see. They got some big bodies on that side.
That Steelers game is gonna be the big game to me because Dylan Gabriel played the Steelers and he played an awful game against the Steelers. The Steelers beat Dylan Gabriel all the hell. I mean, they played like road warriors when they played against Dylan Gabriel. I think it was Dylan Gabriel's worst game when he played the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that'll be the only game where you can see Shedeur play against a similar defense that Dylan Gabriel played against. You can kind of compare the 2 games. But I honestly believe I don't know what Cleveland is gonna do because clearly they're gonna bring Deshaun Watson back next year because they let him go. That's an $80 million cap hit.
Yeah,
they don't want to take an $80 million cap hit. Okay, so I don't think quarterbacks. I don't think the quarterbacks that's coming out in this year's draft. I really don't think highly of those guys. I think the next year quarterbacks are gonna be the quarterback class where you really want to look at if you're gonna need a quarterback. That's gonna be when Archie Manning gonna come out. That's gonna be when Sellers come out, and those guys gonna come out. So. What I would do, I would go to camp with Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur, and Deshaun Watson, and I would just have an open competition. And
for me, I don't, no more competitions, please.
Competition.
Send one of them back in and keep it Dylan and Deshaun, or keep it Deshaun and Shedeur. But one of the rookies got to go now. We can't have this looming all over again this summertime and then again next season and dragging out like this. Enough of that now. At this point,
you can treat them. Well, they got to find out which guy's gonna be best. Now,
but at this point, you have to have an idea at this point.
Yeah, but they don't have an idea clearly. But from what we seeing on the TV screen, they don't have an idea, and they have a hard time having ideas.
I think they do have an idea. They're not going to come on and tell us that right now, but I think they have an idea of who they might not have this. They might not all see the eye on the same idea now. That might not be the case.
I mean, that's another thing we're not even factoring in.
But at this point,
we might be looking at another coach and another general manager coming in, and a new coach and a new general manager might say, I don't want now one of these guys.
Well, then,
I
and
want
that's cool too. I'm just talking
Right.
about who they have right now. You know, like
Right.
at this point, like you saw them in the preseason and training camp and everything else. You see him at practice all the time. You know, you saw what Dylan did before he got hurt. You made
Right.
the choice after to keep him, to let Shedeur start and then let him finish out the season. So when these last 3 games are done, please make a decision. Like, no more
Yeah.
of this. Make a
I mean,
decision and let one go someplace else. And maybe you can get some pieces for one of them. Let them, let them go someplace, let them develop or something. Because this right here is just,
well,
it's no need to keep going back and forth.
that's my whole point. My whole
Let's
point is
one or the other now.
It's similar to Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson. You know, they had the Indianapolis coach did a smart thing to me. They let those two compete, and then once they pick their guy, they like, he's our guy going forward. Like, we're not looking back. I think Cleveland can do the same thing, and then you treat it like Kenny Pickett and Flacco. Whichever one don't win, you can trade him. They got rid of Kenny Pickett, they got rid of Joe Flacco, and then they move forward. You can have the competition.
At this point, I don't see why we're having a competition already, because you've seen them both for quite some time now. Like, they're not.
Only reason I'm saying this
new.
because up to this point, and we don't know what's gonna happen these last 3 games. Let's say these last 3 games, Shedeur goes out there, he balls out, and he wins. He beats one of those teams. Then I would like, okay, he's shown you that he should be the guy. Get rid of the other guy. Deshaun be your backup.
There we go.
You get Zach Bailey come back, be your scout team, and then you set
And
at
then
quarterback,
build.
and you give Shedeur the whole offseason. Let's say Shedeur plays 3 games that look exactly like he did against Chicago. Then what
you
do you
put
say
Deshaun
then? Let's keep Dylan Gabriel, Deshaun be his backup, and we get rid of Shedeur. Like, but
I mean, that's a real possibility, though, because they still have so much more to learn. I mean, we see JJ out there. I mean, JJ has some great games, and some games JJ don't have good games. You know, like Caleb last season, they had him throwing 4,000 yards, Hall of Fame, before he even stepped foot on a freaking NFL game, and he struggled the whole season. And then this season, he looks better. You know, like,
to your point, I believe it'll be in Cleveland's advantage. It'll be in their best interest, should I say, that they know which guy going into next offseason they want to work with.
Yeah, please.
100% of the time.
We gotta move
It'll
on
be
now.
best, but again, we're talking about Cleveland, so we'll see how they manage it or mismanage it going forward.
You know, one thing about the Bills, and it's gonna be a tough watch for me because I love me some Joshua Tyrell Allen. Y'all know how I feel about my MVP.
Right.
But I'm still rooting for Shedeur to have a good game. Regardless. Shedeur has to play efficiently. He seems lethargic. He is hurting himself. I don't think he's lethargic. I get what you're saying though. I think he just, for me, I think aside from holding the ball too long, I think he needs to speed up his processing time in terms of reading the defense and figuring out what he's going to do and make a decision. And I know it's easier said than done because I'm not out there in the field with guys charging at me. I'm at home watching on my television screen, but I think that's part of why I think he seems like he's lethargic. He has to speed up that processing clock in his head and in his mind. I think he will as time goes on. He may get a starting job here. Let's say he goes, I don't know, Miami or someplace. Like he might still look, a little on the struggle bus. A couple of those games. Because it takes time. Greatness takes time. Greatness don't happen overnight.
Right. I mean, he just needs time to develop. Like I said, I see JJ McCarthy. He looks terrible at the beginning of the season. In the last 2 games, he looks like he's going to be a legit quarterback.
He's also been hurt a few times too. So I don't know what's going on here.
In the preseason, I was like, Tyler Shook can't play football. I don't know. We was yelling early in the preseason that New Orleans should have took Shedeur. We were like, they need help at quarterback. And now Tyler Shook look like he probably got a good future ahead of him in New Orleans. So, I mean, it just takes development. These young guys need time to develop in order to be ready for the NFL because the game is so fast when you get to this level and you playing against grown men who are trying to feed their families. They want to take your head off. So I think to Brother D's point, I think Shedeur would be better off if he played more on script like Dylan did. Get the ball out of your hand fast, process the plays real quick, and go ahead and get that under your belt until the game slows down, and then go into playing more off script. Because right now, with him playing so much off script, it's almost like he's waiting to make the big play every time.
Mhm.
And sometimes the big play isn't there. Go ahead and get the sure play. Go ahead and hit the check down. Go ahead and hit the quick out. Go ahead and get the ball out of your hand. Just move the chains. And then as the game starts to slow down, complement that with the big play. So I think he'll be better suited if he starts to play more on script than off script.
We gonna suck. Like I said, I think at this point, like they know more than we do. You've had your time with these QB since they were
Right.
drafted, and you've had them, in film sessions. You get to see them day in, day out. You get to see the kind of work they're putting in outside of the practice, and who's coming in on days off, who's staying early, who's staying late. You get to see all those different things.
Right.
That we don't get a chance to see. Just from obviously not being in the building. So you got to have an idea of who you're thinking, and maybe you don't right now. These last 3 games, you're waiting to see what Shedeur does before you make that final decision. Regardless of how it goes, for you to get the best out of either one of them, you got to make a decision. Because if
Right.
you're splitting reps again in the offseason and you're trying to have this competition, and okay, Shedeur, you go, no, Dylan, you go now, and then you're going back and forth, like once again, like this is you're still hindering the growth. You're still
Yeah.
stopping it. So at this point, I'm like, make a decision. If Shedeur's gonna go, great. Like, let Shedeur go, be free. Hopefully he goes someplace they're gonna be patient and develop him, and he can be legendary, and if not, and you're gonna keep him and you really believe in him, then keep him, develop him, send Dylan someplace else where he can be great, and bring some pieces around him. They got a lot of picks in this upcoming draft.
Right.
A lot of picks, so you can really get some wide receivers, do some different things, to really get this offensive line going, because the defense is good, but
Right.
get that offensive line going.
If they keep Shedeur, they need to get rid of Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry. They just need to get rid of those guys and put a new general manager and a new head coach.
That's a whole other conversation.
Right.
We'll see what happens
because
with that.
because it's just too many built-in excuses. If you keep Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry around and you keep Shedeur, they're gonna say, oh, well, the reason he's not succeeding because Kevin Stefanski don't like him. He's sabotaging him. He this and he that. Go ahead, let's clean slate.
I mean, they might say that someplace else now. I mean, So
I mean,
I get what you're saying. Though I
right,
get what
at
you're
some
saying,
point, the
but
excuses got to stop.
I get what you're saying. I do, like, from a coaching standpoint, I do hope that when they play these next 3 games, there's some variation, within the play calling, because it's very stagnant. That there's it's very predictable. I'm like, okay, here we go. First down, that's what they're gonna do. Second down, is gonna do. Third down, is gonna throw it. Like it's like you can kind of see what. And if I can see it at home, and I've never played in the NFL, they know how to read it too. I mean, like that's what they do for a living. So it's like, do something different, just a little something. I don't know what they're gonna do, but it's so boring and stagnant and just like, ugh, like we'll see. We'll see. Maybe if they do
anytime you
keep
got a
Shedeur.
quarterback who's not completing passes, it gets boring.
Say it again.
They had drives where they let him throw it on first down and second down and third down, and he's throwing either behind the receiver or the ball is nowhere near the receiver, and then now you're at 3rd and 10, and then they get a penalty. Then the penalty back them up 5 yards.
And that's something else too.
Now it's 3rd and 15.
The penalties have been there since before, since Joe Flacco. I mean, every other play, there's a flag and a penalty. I'm like, come on, y'all. What is going on with the penalties, man? False start, too many men on the field. I'm like, what are y'all doing? I'm like, what's happening? It's always something.
Holding, then it's a hold. Then he make a good play as a holding call.
Yep, it's just always something, like it's just always. I'm like, oh man, I'm like, Shedeur ran, and it's coming right back, So it's always something, Maybe, I mean, if they did get rid of Kevin Stefanski, what do you like, Mike McCarthy? You would like him in
Mike McCarthy would be a great coach.
I like Mike
he's
McCarthy.
coaching Green Bay. He's coached Aaron Rodgers. He's coached Brett Favre. He's good in the cold.
He had Dak in the MVP conversation a couple of years ago.
Right, he knows his football. He knows offense. I mean, Mike McCarthy would be a great candidate.
So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Dallas should have kept him.
I actually like Coach Shoddy, if I'm being honest. But that's one of the conversations.
I like his father. I like Coach Shoddy's father. His father was an excellent head coach. Could never get it done in the playoffs, but regular season, he's one of the best regular season head coaches I've ever seen. Brian Schottenheimer.
That name was, I was like Schottenheimer when I first heard. I was like, what? I was roasting Jerry here on this channel, y'all. I was like, what is Jerry thinking? This is crazy. Should have kept Matt McCarthy. But I'm like, you know what? I actually like the coach. I actually like him. You know, I'm rooting for him. You know,
Well, I think you like his personality.
I do, but I don't think he's a bad coach, even aside from the personality.
Yeah,
I think
the
the
record doesn't
offense looks
reflect that though.
really well. You know, I mean, the defense obviously knows there's another question. They have good games and they have some not so good games. And they made like a really good turn for a few games. Like, okay, the defense is coming along and making progress, and then they reverted back. So, but
They should have hired Kellen Moore.
But I like that too.
That should have been their coach. He was already there in the building. He was your offensive coordinator. He was already in the building. You just let Kellen Moore and Dan Quinn go. Both of those are highly qualified head coaches. You let both of them go because Jerry Jones wants to have a puppet to be the head coach. And that's why Schottenheimer was hired, because Schottenheimer is always going to lean toward Jerry. What do you want done, Jerry? What plays you want me to put in the playbook this week, Jerry? Who you want me to play this week, Jerry? And so to me,
that's what I was going to say. I think that's the biggest problem that they have, aside from the coaching. You know, everything is, you know, Jerry, you know, has his hands.
But that's why he got the job. He got the job because he's a Jerry yes man.
But if he was a Jerry no man, then he wouldn't have hired him. You know, so I'm just saying. So I said it goes back to Jerry anyway. You know, like because his hands are in so much. Like he's stopping the team from really being great and getting to where getting back to Super Bowl when he wants to see them go before he passes on, according to him. You know, but the way he's going about it. But according to what he's saying, like he's not helping it at all, you know. So it'll be another offseason of foolishness and headlines about everything, but getting the team ready for the season. They'll be starting backwards and paying more money for no reason. It'll be something, you know. It's just the way it happens every offseason. Kevin said, "Who do you think is the best player? You talking about for the Browns, or you mean the entire NFL?" While we're waiting for Kevin to give his response to that question, I'm gonna go on to the last segment, y'all. We're gonna get up out of here tonight. We got here early tonight, y'all. Injuries. Oh man, there was some really crazy injuries. We know obviously Daniel was out, Indiana Jones was out, and then yesterday, Patrick Mahomes, you know, he had towards ACL. He had surgery maybe about 3 hours ago, they announced it. He's going he had successful surgery in Dallas, and he's gonna start rehab right away, they said. Micah Parsons is also out for the season. Devontae Adams, I'm not sure. I think he hurt his hamstring. I don't think it's a season-ending injury though for him. So maybe he'll be back, you know, in the playoffs. But I think he'll be out for a couple of weeks, you know, just kind of nursing that hamstring. But we're talking about like I'm gonna start from the Chiefs right now. Before I go to the Packers, because they're still gonna make the playoffs, obviously. This was bound to happen. With the Chiefs. I did not like how Patrick Mahomes was getting knocked around. And I know this is the NFL and quarterbacks get knocked down, but there was a time where he was better protected. And looking at him last week against the Houston Texans, I was like, he's gonna get hurt. Like they got sit him down, put somebody else up in there, or find a way to protect him, because if he keeps getting knocked down like that, and they're really trying obviously to cling and get to the playoffs. Obviously, they want to go back and kind of avenge themselves from what happened last year. I'm like, he's gonna get hurt. And watching this game yesterday, I was like, oh man, this is not. I was like, I'm concerned for Patrick's health now. I'm like, I don't like how it looks. Then lo and behold, last 2 minutes of the game, last minute maybe of the game, he gets hurt, season injury. But sometimes things need to happen. I think they've been holding on to the current regime too long. Everything has to change and evolve. That's just the natural evolution of life. And at this point, maybe Travis Kelce's going to retire. I don't know what he's going to do. But even if he's there or not, you got to do some different things going forward to get back to where you once were. I don't see them getting back to a championship right now with the same roster. I think this roster has had it. I said it a few weeks ago. I said it, I think, last season. I'm saying it again now. I think this current roster has that's it for this one. What do you think, though? And prayers up for Patrick Mahomes. I was like, yes, no Chiefs in the playoffs. I posted about it, but I'm not happy that he's hurt. I do feel bad that he got hurt. I don't wish injury on nobody.
Yeah. Pat is a warrior, man. Pat is a football player. He's gonna go out there and he's gonna do everything that he can to possibly win the football game. He had surgery on his ACL. Also, he had repaired a torn LCL on his left knee.
I didn't see that part. Okay.
The surgery was done by Dr. Dan Cooper who's an orthopedic surgeon out of Dallas. So He's looking at 9 months recovery, which pushes him to September 15th, which might be at the beginning of next season. Maybe he'll miss a week and then he'll be ready to go. He'll be ready back to go to action. Of course, NFL is, every year you supposed to revamp. You're gonna revamp your team. I don't see Travis Kelce coming back. I think Travis Kelce retire. Um, they need some new pieces on that team. Of course, I'm pretty sure they're gonna go in free agency and they're gonna get some guys to come in. You're gonna go into the draft. Maybe you get another O lineman, which they did this offseason. Actually, they kind of revamped the O line this offseason, but they can always use another body on the O line. And then I think they need another tight end. I don't know if the number 83. I don't know why his name is slipping my mind right now. I don't know if he's going to be the guy going forward that can replace Travis Kelce. But also, I think they'll need another wide receiver. I like Rashee Rice and I like Xavier Worthy, but you need a guy who's going to take the top off. And I thought that's what Xavier Worthy was going to be for this team, a guy who can take the top off. I mean, Thornton pretty much did that this season for him, but sometimes they didn't want to play Thornton for whatever reason. But he was the only guy who could take the top off and allow the underneath stuff to work. So they got some work to do. And of course, last but not least, they need a running back in the worst way. Isaiah Pacheco is mediocre at best. And Kareem Hunt, he had a great career.
He took some steps back. I thought he was better in the previous seasons. This season, I feel like he took a couple of steps back.
Isaiah Pacheco hasn't been the same since he had that knee injury a couple years ago. He doesn't have that same burst he had when he first stepped out on the scene and caused them, and let them move away from Hilaire. So I think they need another running back. Kareem Hunt, you had a great career, man, but you're a little bit long in the tooth at this point. They need some explosion in the backfield. And so I would go definitely look for another running back, maybe another O lineman to help solidify, because you got to protect Pat Mahomes at all costs. And also, and then they're gonna have to look at the defensive side of the ball. Even though defense played well, you got some guys who are getting long in the tooth on that side of the football too.
Chris is, he was,
and you're gonna want to revamp. So every football team, particularly the Kansas City Chiefs, they got work to do personnel wise. But as long as they got Andy Reid and as long as they got Pat Mahomes, they're always gonna be a threat in the AFC.
And I think that's what for me, I think that was what was very glaring this season. It's last season obviously, but this season especially. Patrick Mahomes, yes, he is beyond talented. Resume speaks for itself. You know what I mean? Arguably, people put him in the GOAT conversation. They say he's better than Tom Brady. Depends on who you ask what your preference is. I'm going to get into that debate today. He's one person. 76% of the offense cannot come from one person. You're going to run into the same problem at some point when it gets like later on in the season. And I think that was very, very glaring this season. Yesterday, part of the reason why he got hurt, we know how talented he is. So like, as long as we got Patrick Mahomes and we have Andy Reid, like we're good. But that's not the case anymore. You know what I mean? This is very much a team sport. Other teams are getting better. You got the Denver Broncos, the Texans, the Patriots, like these teams are really getting better. These QBs are also super talented. He has to have more. You can't expect him to always pull out his bag of tricks and be like, everything and then some. At this point, that's not going to work anymore. You're going to get him hurt again like Joe Burrow.
It's never worked. He's never been the whole team. He's been the quarterback. Once again, the quarterback gets so much praise when they win. They get too much of the blame when they lose. But he didn't win those Super Bowls by himself. Travis Kelce was great when he was winning those Super Bowls.
They act like he did, though. I'm like,
the running game was great when he was winning those Super Bowls. When he had Pacheco in his earlier years, when he had Kareem Hunt that first time go around, when it was Hilaire was there. Those running and the defense. I mean, Chris Jones and those guys, when they had Honey Badger and when they had my guy who went to Tennessee just on free agency this year because they couldn't afford to pay him. No, Kansas City wasn't just winning Super Bowls because of who the quarterback that was. They win Super Bowl because they had a complete team around him. Now they let some of those
I,
guys
I
go.
agree with you. I agree with you.
They
But the
let
conversation
some
was
of those guys
always
go.
Patrick
Right.
Mahomes and Andy Reid. Like there was just the two of them and nobody else out there.
Right. Well, again, a lot of times the head coach and the quarterback, they're gonna get all the credit for winning. They don't they don't want to give guys the credit they deserve. That's the media telling stories, because sports, at the end of the day, the sports is about storytelling. So sometimes the story they tell is not always accurate as you might want it to be. But this year, I will say Pat Mahomes had more on his plate because the running game wasn't in existence. Travis Kelce, clearly he's lost a step or two, and he's got one foot in the door, the other foot is at the church ready to get married. So he not all the way there. You missed some big pieces on defense. Chris Jones, I love Chris Jones. He's been a defensive playmaker and a wrecker of offenses for years, but this wasn't one of his better years. I mean, we've even seen plays where Chris Jones just stopped playing and the guy run right past him for a touchdown. And we're like, what's going on here? I mean, Karfalakis, he's not getting to the quarterback at any percentage rate. You're not putting pressure on the quarterback. Drew Tranquil, those guys you brought in to make plays, they're not making any plays. So, I mean, the only player making plays is the McDuffie. McDuffie is making plays, but even the last game, he got hurt. So once he went down, I mean, it's pretty much over with for your defense. So, I mean, they definitely have to regroup and put personnel back. But I'm saying with Andy Reid as the head coach and Pat Mahomes as your quarterback, I have no doubt in my mind that Kansas City can revamp. They can get the
They
personnel
definitely
that
can,
they
yeah.
need.
I mean, you got the
to-
two. You got your
Right.
coach, you got your QB.
Right.
Like, those are the two most important things, So, yeah.
Exactly. I don't have to worry about those two. As long as I got those two in the building, I can put the other players, I can restock my cupboard, so to say, with the pieces and the ingredients that I need to make this meal going forward. And so I have no doubt in my mind that Kansas City will be back on top. I mean, I was seeing some on X earlier where they showed that Pat Mahomes tore his ACL the same season that Tom Brady tore his ACL. A year after they went to the Super Bowl, lost the Super Bowl, he tore his ACL. New England Patriots were down for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then they got back on top, and eventually Tom Brady went back to win the Super Bowls.
Yeah,
And
I think he'll get back there for sure.
Right. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Pat Mahomes has spoiled, him and Andy has spoiled the whole football world. And to believe that every year that Pat Mahomes play, he's going to be in the AFC Championship game and he's going to be in the Super Bowl. I think the league is too good. I really think Lamar Jackson is going to bounce back. We see Joshua Tyrell Allen. He's good. He's going to be around. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. Joe Burrows is going to bounce back. Drake May is coming. Denver is well coached. As long as they got that defense playing on that level, they're going to be around. So it might be a few teams that win the Super Bowl over the next 4 or 5 years before Pat Mahomes get back to the pinnacle.
Yeah.
It's not easy winning playoff games, and it's not easy going to the Super Bowl. But Pat Mahomes made it
look easy, yeah.
And that's why, even though we're not gonna have the argument today, but that's why he's in the GOAT conversation, because he made it look so easy in his first 7 years of playing football that people actually believe that Pat Mahomes is gonna be there every year, and football just doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't look the same without those pieces around him. And I always say, I told my son loves Patrick Mahomes. I'm like, I want to see what he looks like when the team is not as stacked. Like, how does it look? Is he still able to carry the load, or is it a couple of steps back? So you get to see that he's human like everybody else. It's like you hold him up here like, oh my God, Patrick Mahomes the great. And he's still great, but he's still a person, and he still needs help like anybody else. But like you said, they did kind of spoil everybody, in terms of what they have accomplished, and you kind of get used to them being up here. Like you don't, no matter what, you're like, oh, they're gonna figure it out. Like they lose 5 games in a row, well, they're gonna figure it out. They'll still be there because it's Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. They're still gonna get there. And I was like, oh man, maybe that's not the case. But prayers up again for him. Prayers up for Micah. We spoke about Micah earlier on in this episode, you guys. We'll wrap it up and get up out of here, you guys. Try to keep it shorter this week. Usually be on here for like 4 hours. I said I'm gonna make it a personal goal of mine to keep it a little bit shorter, and we accomplished that goal tonight, you guys. I'm so happy. Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Well, One Man Cave. Make sure you follow One Man Cave. Also, built for this radio network. Also, make sure you follow Just Simply Sports. And good programming. A lot of good programming is being made. So subscribe to the channels, hit the like buttons, and share with somebody, and be entertained and informed as well. I'll put it like that.
Entertained and informed.
Yes, information is more important than entertainment, in my opinion.
We know how you feel about that.
Right. I mean, we as a people, as a culture, we're too entertained. We're so entertained that we take our eye off the ball. We're easily distracted from the real stuff that goes on, and then we complain when things are not going right in the world for us. But that's because we're not paying attention to it. We're too busy being entertained. So sometimes we have to step away from entertainment a little bit and go get some information. But every now and again, you got to get your minds off things, because this world will break you. Mental health is serious, and stress is real. And so sometimes you got to take your mind off things, and it's good to go somewhere where you can get a little bit of entertainment and take your mind off things. Just make sure there's a healthy balance of what you're doing.
Balance is key.
Because too much of one thing is never a good thing.
I agree with that. I'm mad Nasir's not in here. He was here earlier, but he must have left because we started a little bit later. I was curious to see what he had to say.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about his 49ers.
That's Big Dog.
Oh, Big Dog got the 49ers. Right.
Yeah, Nasir, he messaged yesterday like, man, I missed it. I had a lot to say about the Golden Goose, so I was looking forward to seeing what he was gonna say tonight, but he must have went on to bed. So we'll see. He'll be back. That's one thing I know.
He just like to troll you. He didn't want to troll you tonight.
I'm used to it now.
Right.
But all right, you guys. Good night. Be safe. Be well. And we'll see you guys. I'll be back on here tomorrow night, you guys, for the Spurs versus Knicks. I had to think for a second. In season championship. Who you got right now? Are you gonna watch the game? Who do you have before we got here?
I'll take. You said the Nets.
The Knicks, yeah, the Knicks and the Spurs.
The Knicks. Oh, I'll take the Spurs. I'll take the Spurs.
You going back and forth?
I've been watching Knicks basketball a little bit lately. I watched them play Orlando. I watched them play Toronto. I love the NBA. It's my second favorite sport. But it's going downhill. I don't like what I'm seeing out of the NBA right now. But I'll take the Spurs though. I like the Spurs. They got a lot of young talent.
They do. They do.
And they're just beginning of what could be a great run for them. Their championship window, once it's open, it's gonna be like this.
Yeah, because they're so young. They're so freaking young, and they have so much talent that they don't even use on the bench. So, who want a good chance to play. So yeah. And Wemby's back, minute restriction, but he's still back. So Stephon Castle's been leading the charge, and Dylan Harper's showing up, and Vassell and everybody else, So De'Aaron Fox, how forget about De'Aaron Fox, So
right.
We shall see. It should be a good one though. Tomorrow it's gonna be competitive. I think that I get that much.
Right. So I'll be tuning in. I'll be tuning in to see how it play out.
I think the Spurs are going to be coming into it on a high because they beat OKC. It's like they took out the champs. You know what I mean? And Wemby wasn't even healthy in this game. Imagine what we could do when he's fully healthy. So they might ride a little wave. So it should be a good game. I'm just hoping it's a good game. No crazy blowout like lopsided in the second quarter, like 30, 40 points.
Right, but the NBA Cup, it doesn't really matter. The NBA has did a good job in letting everybody know that it's not important. So I don't even know why they do it. I wish they'll just scrap it. And
I like it. I think they actually compete a little bit harder because they want the money.
Yeah, but Darvin Ham and the Lakers won the first NBA Cup.
They did.
And at the end of that season, they fired Darvin Ham. So how important is the NBA Cup?
I don't think him and LeBron mesh. I think that's what. I could be wrong, but I think that was what the problem was. Could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it might be the case. I mean, LeBron got his guy. I mean, he did get JJ Redick hired off the podcast, so maybe that had something to do with it.
All right, you guys, we shall see. But I'll be back here tomorrow night. Me and Notty will be back here for week 16. Oh my goodness, week 16.
Yeah.
Of the NFL next week, you guys. So we shall see what happens. hopefully everybody stays healthy. No more season-ending injuries, please. You know, like everybody finish out healthy as you are right now, and let's see
Yeah.
who's gonna win. Right now, if you had to pick who you think's gonna be in the Super Bowl, who you got?
I still got Philly,
Okay.
and you know what? I know this is gonna surprise you that I'm gonna say this team, but I am gonna say this team because he is the big dog. I'm gonna say Buffalo.
Stop playing with it. Stop playing with it. You know something?
Because Kansas City got bumped.
I don't have to
So-
say anything else. I'm gonna leave with your prediction, and that's gonna be that. That's gonna be that. Put it out there, manifest it in the universe, the positive vibes. You are speaking my language, Notty. Thank you so much. I was gonna say the Bills anyway, but you put them out there, so cool. I'm excited. I'm excited, you guys.
Yeah. Of
It's
course,
gonna be
Philly will win.
it's gonna go from regular season MVP to Super Bowl MVP Joshua Tyrell Allen to you. Period. In Jesus' name. Okay. All right, you guys. I'm out of here. Okay. Good night.